If you've lived in southern Arizona for any length of time, you realize that we take water resources pretty seriously. For an area that has a certain amount of reliance on the Colorado River for water, we must do everything in our power to make every last drop count. One specific community in southern Arizona that aims to do just this is the Savano community in eastern Tucson. Between green infrastructure features and use of reclaimed water, they are a potential model of what other developments could implement to use water more sparingly and effectively in the Sonoran Desert. Through a suite of different remote sensing operations, presenter Yajuan Pan analyzed how canopy change and vegetation vitality has fluctuated during the last decade in Savano and what this may indicate regarding their green community. Yajuan.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Yajuan, and I'm going to talk about the canopy change assessment and water resources utilization in the Savano community. Here is the overview. I will discuss it from the introduction, motivation, data, objectives, and conclusions. For the study area is the Savano community. It's located in the southeast of Tucson, and Savano was the first developed community to balance natural resources and human needs. In the Savano development, solar principles, green buildings, water conservation technologies, and native or low water use landscaping are elements across the Savano. For the canopy cover in a community, it can bring a lot of benefits, like provide the habitat for urban wildlife, reduce the traffic noise, cool summer temperature, and enhance property values. And this picture is about the canopy cover in the developed area, and this one is the canopy cover in the natural area surrounding the Savano community. In order to keep the plant growth in good condition, Savano adopted the design of a rainwater harvesting system and also use reclaimed water. This technology not only saves the potable water from irrigation, but also increase water supplies for landscaping. So in this project, it's aimed to quantitatively measure the plant growth in the community and validate the effectiveness of water harvesting system and the usage of reclaimed water of the community. This project can also provide the fundamental canopy cover data and provide a reference for other communities' design. In this project, I collect this data, NEPA imagery, and LiDAR. The water resources include the precipitation and reclaimed water from 2005 to 2015, and the models and NVI data. In this project, there are 4 objectives, like process the land cover classification and study the canopy change, analyze the water supply and the plant demand. I also did a supplemental analysis based on NDVI and water resources. For this project for this objective is to process land cover classification. In this part, based on the NEPA imagery and the LiDAR, I use the supervised classification method in ArcGIS to process the land cover classification for 2007, 2010, and 2015. The result is classified as 6 classes, such as buildings, pavement, background, water, grassland, and tree shrub classes. This is the 2007 classification result. It's derived from the 2005 LiDAR and 2007 NEPA imagery. The overall accuracy is 94%. But there is a kind of classification error. Like in the red boxes, you can see this is the background, but they are misclassified as building pixels. Similarly, in the 2010 classification result, in the red boxes, these buildings were misclassified as pavement. This kind of classification error is because of the different data of LiDAR and NEPA imagery. For the 2015 classification result, is derived from 2015 LiDAR and 2015 NEPA imagery, and there is no that kind of problem because the LiDAR and NEPA are in the same year. The overall accuracy is 92%. Based on the land cover classification, I extracted the canopy cover data from the classification result for the 3 years. And I also studied the canopy change from three perspectives, like from the entire community, and for each zone, for both developed area and natural area. I will talk about the netting zones later. This result is about the canopy change across the entire community. Apparently, the canopy cover decreased in 2010 and then increased from 2010 to 2015. This result is about the canopy change in each zone. This map shows the netting zones, which is created by the City of Tucson staff. In this project, I reclassified the netting zones as 3 categories, like the natural area, developed area, and the mixed area. For example, the zone 2 is the natural area, and zone 4 is the mixed area. The zone 7 is the developed area. And then I plotted the canopy change in each zone. I found out the canopy cover change in the 3 categories. They are changed in different ways. Like for the natural area, you can see the canopy cover decreased dramatically in 2010, like these green boxes. For the developed area, there is no apparent decrease in 2010. You can see from these zones, the canopy cover in 2010, there is no apparent decrease. For the mixed area, the canopy change showed a mild decrease in 2010. I also calculated the canopy change for both developed area and the natural area. From this table, we can see the canopy change in the natural area are more dramatic than those in developed area. The reason is in natural area, the canopy cover is mainly affected by climate, but in developed area, human intervention on plant growth reduces the effect of climate. So in order to study the human intervention on plant growth, I did the following analysis. I analyzed the water supply and the plant demand in the developed area. In this analysis, I extracted the impervious area and the canopy cover data from the classification results. And then reference the City of Tucson Water Harvesting Rainwater Guide to Water Efficient Landscape to calculate the rainwater supply and the plant demand. Plus the reclaimed water, I got the total water supply, and see if the total water supply meets the plant water demand. Both equations I used to calculate the rainwater supply and the plant water demand. To calculate the rainwater supply, I extracted the impervious area from the classification result, and the impervious area include the building and the pavement classes. The runoff coefficient is considered 2.9. To calculate the plant water demand, consider that in the community, the plant type is native or low water use, so the plant water use coefficient is considered as 0.2. Yeah, I use both equations to calculate the monthly and the annual water supply and plant demand. This result is the annual water supply and plant water demand. Because of the rainwater harvesting system design in Savannah, the rainwater supply was higher than the plant water demand. So the rainwater supply is sufficient for plant growth. But in 2009, we can see the rainwater supply was the least. This is because in 2009, the precipitation was the least. But the reclaimed water, in this year, the reclaimed water compensated the lack of rainwater supply to make sure the total water supply is sufficient for plant water demand. So in a summary, because of the rainwater harvesting design and the usage of the reclaimed water, plants in the developed area was in good water supply conditions, and it's possible to plant more trees in savanna. This result is about the monthly water supply and the plant water demand. We can see from the figure, reclaimed water was always following plant water demand. And in some specific months, like from March to June, the rainwater, the rainwater supply was the least, but the reclaimed water compensated low rainwater supply. So this demonstrates the importance of reclaimed water. I also did the supplemental analysis based on the NDVI and the water resources. I collected the models NDVI for both natural area and developed area and compared them and found the difference. I also did a correlation analysis between the NDVI and the water resources. This result is about the comparison of NDVI in natural area and developed area. In this figure, we can see, in general, the NDVI of natural area is higher than that of developed area. But in 2009, the NDVI of natural area is the lowest. This is because the precipitation was the least in 2009. But the NDVI of developed area in 2009, but the NDVI of developed area is not affected by climate as much as the natural area. This is because of human intervention in the developed area. Also, based on the trend line, we can see the NDVI of developed area kept increasing. This also demonstrates the plant growth in the community was in good condition. This result is about the correlation analysis. For the natural area, I did the correlation analysis between NDVI and the precipitation. The result is statistically significant, and there is a positive correlation. This demonstrates the precipitation is the main factor for plant growth in the natural area. For the developed area, I also did the correlation analysis between NDVI and the precipitation and reclaimed water, but the result is not statistically significant. This is because the water supply is sufficient in the developed area, so it will not affect the plant growth. Will not affect the normal plant growth. Conclusions. The combination of NEPA imagery and LiDAR can generate accurate land cover classification. Because of the design of rainwater harvesting and the usage of reclaimed water, water supply is sufficient for plant growth in the developed area in savanna community. In the natural area, plant growth changes dramatically as a result of precipitation variability. At last, I want to thank Irene and Ivan, Josh. Thank you for coming. And I also want to thank Professor Wim and Cal and John, Jennifer. Without your help, I can't complete this project. Thank you. Any questions?
A great presentation. I have a question on you had the NAIP and the LiDAR.
Yes.
and then you had a couple little lines going down, it was stacked, and then below that you had your classification.
Yes.
Could you go through that? How
Okay.
are you doing that? Are you using them discretely in a singular classification process, or are you somehow merging them together with raster math to form a single raster used in a singular classification process?
You mean if I use the same method for the 3 and the color classification?
No, I mean, did you merge those two rasters together, the LiDAR data
Yes.
and the NAIP into a single raster, and then classify that?
Yes, like this. The NIP imagery have 4 bands, and I also extract the NDVI data from the NIP imagery. Also consider as one layer, and the object height model is extracted from the LiDAR data. Is considered as one layer. So there are 4 layers to make a stack file, and then in the ArcGIS software, I use a supervised classification to process it.
Okay. So it's one raster, many bands.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any question?